And joining me here shortly will be Brit. She'll be here in just a second. Looks like she's locked out of her computer, so little technical difficulties, but she'll be here in just a second. Before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe, follow the MHRT network so you can get notified when shows like the Cluster Puck podcast go live. You can do so on the various social media platforms of your choosing. And if you want to follow us, we ask that you do so at the Cluster Puck podcast on Facebook and at Cluster Puck Avs on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. Okay. That being said, it is officially, for the Avalanche at least, Olympic break time, which honestly, I thought it would kind of be like a killing momentum, like, oh man, we were in such a good, good standing and everything. I kind of see it now as a break, like an actual break from not doing too good. Like the month of January, in fact, 2026 as a whole just had not been very kind to the Avalanche whatsoever. Luckily, we were able to kind of right the track, sorta, from last week's episode, winning 2 of the 3 games, which we'll talk about in just a second. But the large portion that we want to talk about this particular episode and for the next few episodes, I think I'm probably going to say through the month of February, is the 2026 Winter Olympic Games in Milano-Cortina. So that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on the most, I'll say, just because there's obviously no upcoming games for the regular season. We're only going to talk about 3 games that just happened. But there are a few questions that I had received, whether from people that I knew or from some people that DM'd, about this Olympics and kind of how it could affect not only the Avalanche as a whole, but for us here, since we're a US-based network, Team USA as a whole. And then we'll go over the specifics one more time about who is in for which particular team representing the Colorado Avalanche. So that being said, let's kind of jump into the games that happened first, and then we'll talk Olympics and see where the Avalanche men fare as far as their respective teams and kind of keys to their success in order for them to go far and hopefully maybe take home a gold medal. So there were 3 games that happened, 2 of which were against the same opponent, and ironically enough, 2 different outcomes on very similar but opposite sides of the spectrum. So let's kind of dive into that one by one here. The last game in January, you were in Detroit facing the Detroit Red Wings. Remember, this is just coming off of an absolutely egregious loss to the Montreal Canadiens, 7-3. Not very good. You needed a turnaround game in the worst possible way, and luckily, you got it. You win this game. Keep in mind, it's in Motor City, okay? You win this game 5-0. You shut them out on their home ice. They really didn't stand much of a chance. The game was well put away. I wouldn't say well put away, but it felt pretty well in hand by the end of the first period with goals from Brett Burns. Nathan MacKinnon pots his 39th of the season. Well, looking like he might be a Rocket Richard participant here down the stretch. Everything was going pretty okay. It wasn't easy by any stretch of the imagination, but the game felt like, okay, as long as you keep playing like this, what that first period produced, you're going to be just fine. And luckily, it kind of did just that in the second period. A lot of mirror work from the first period. Ross Colton gets his 7th goal of the season. Nathan MacKinnon now pots his 40th, getting 2 goals there. And by this point in time, you're up 4-0. And usually, the Avalanche, the game is pretty much won at that point. When you're up that high with 1 period left, and that's kind of how the momentum shifts have been going. That's how the hits have been going, everything to that extent. More likely than not, you're going to win the game. So at this point, it felt pretty comfortable. Okay. It felt like it was, the game was in hand. And the objective, and this always kind of goes to my mentality, where you're up, 3-0, 4-0, whatever it is, you're currently shutting them out. My whole mentality is keep the shutout, because for some reason that is more aggravating to me. Yeah, you'll win the game. Let's say you could be up 1,000-0, right? But if they score just 1, it feels like a bigger blemish than a loss. I don't know how to describe it, but it just feels like a bigger blemish than a loss. Parker Kelly gets his 12th of the season, which, by the way, I think I might have mentioned this last week. Parker Kelly is having a career year, and it is incredible to watch. He's like I said, he's been kind of that player that I wouldn't call him like on the bubble or anything, but he seems to be playing like he's looking to accomplish something or to prove something to not only Jared Bednar and the coaching staff, but maybe to himself as well. He'd had a very, very good game. Very noticeable, I'll say, despite having just the 1 point on the score sheet. It was a goal, so that was always very nice. But you keep the shutout, okay? 0 goals allowed on, let's see, 28 shots. Yeah, Mackenzie Blackwood in this game played perfect, okay? Which begs the question now as far as your goaltending standing, because when Blackwood was injured, Wedgwood stepped up pretty fine, you know. Now when Wedgwood's injured, Blackwood seems to have been stepping up fine, but then games like the next one happen where you begin to really question kind of everything. Keep in mind, it's the exact same opponent as the one you just beat 5-0, the Detroit Red Wings. The only difference is that it's a home game. You think about this and you say, well, naturally, this game should be like a 10-0 type of game. If they can't score on their home ice against you, surely you should win the game against them here. No. You, the Avalanche, us, get shut out 2-0 against the Detroit Red Wings for the second time. On that, I should say on the second, John Gibson, perfect, plays a perfect game. I don't know what happens. I don't know what happened and how to logically explain this, because again, you just played them. Now, that being said, this happens all the time in playoffs, but that's playoffs. Okay. You're going to see them at least 4 times, so you know how to tweak things, how to correct things. This one, you saw them once, you figured you're in the Avalanche case, we're doing great, so they didn't need to necessarily change much. Whatever Detroit did, it wiped and completely nullified that 5-0 win off the board by getting shut out yourself. 2-0. That's not to say that the team, excuse me, the teams were playing bad. Granted, 25 shots were shot to Mackenzie Blackwood. He stops 23. Well, I guess technically speaking, one of them was an empty netter, so he stops 24 of 25. So he was okay. But the offense, and this is going to be a very similar keynote that I'm going to speak on with the San Jose game, despite winning that one. It just felt like the Avs were shooting for the sake of shooting and not necessarily scoring. It was more prevalent in the San Jose game, but it kind of started and sprouted here, I think. Let me explain what I mean. It just felt like, granted, the Avalanche had 21 shots or whatever it was, not a whole ton, but it just felt like at that current point in time, the Avs were just shooting for the sake of getting a shot on goal statistic. Oh, Brit's here. Let's go ahead and add her. Hiya, Brit.
How's it going?
I am so wonderful. How are you?
I am good. I just got locked out of my computer. I just created a whole brand new user to get on here.
Nice.
So yeah,
Love it.
I'm going to see if I can get back on later. I might have to transition over and I will turn my camera on. But yeah,
right.
One of those lives, you know?
That's kind of how life goes right about this time.
The theme anyway,
so I'm just speaking on the second of the 2 Detroit games, Brit. So we shut them out 5-0, then get shut 2-0. And kind of one of the reasons that I was talking about, it was very strange. What I was kind of saying was just that they were shooting the puck for the sake of a statistic, trying to get the shot count up, but they weren't really even aiming to score a goal. And that became more of a prevalent thing in the San Jose game than it did any time else. But I think it sprouted here.
Yeah, I think that they've been hearing shoot the puck, shoot the puck, shoot the puck, and just I feel like they're mentally lost. Like they're making choices out of obligation to just satisfy statistics and the visuals and not acting on their inherent elite athletic abilities and like their inherent hockey IQs. And you can tell because it's the same thing with a goalie. If you're thinking about it, then you're not playing your best because you just don't. We don't think fast enough. So, well, I don't at least. But yeah, there's too much thinking.
Yep, and that was kind of what I was.
It's got to be.
I agree. I 100% agree, and that's kind of what I was just saying. Was Blackwood in this game played fine. He stopped 24 of 25, and then obviously their second was an empty netter. But the offense just did not generate anything, and it was confusing because in the other game you generated 5 goals with the exact same personnel. Doesn't make sense.
And a goalie playing well. It's not like, but the usual. We make a goalie look good, and I'm so sick and tired of that. There's something to the way we make goalies look good.
It's not fun, especially when you have the offensive firepower to put like 7 past them, and you should be able to if you're able to score on the power play, which that's still a joke. And second, that just with your ability and shot creation ability, I should say, alone, should be able to do the trick 10 times out of 10.
And this is just like kind of tied into that, but I don't know if I'm overreacting, but are you starting to feel concerned about Cale Makar's shot and the amount of that he's missing the net? I mean, is like seriously concerned, like possible injury that he's hiding?
Potentially. I actually, in fact, didn't really think about it until now. You just brought it up. But yeah, he's been a lot more cautious with his shot taking. I'll definitely give you that. Yeah. But as far as maybe hiding an injury, who's to say?
Just missing the net, which he's aiming at small margins, but not even just not shooting, but missing the net. And just doesn't seem like his shot is where it should be, where it's been.
Yeah. I totally agree. But yeah, so a loss in this game, let alone it being shut out on home ice, does not leave a good taste in the mouth. And
filled with Detroit fans, yuck.
Oh my gosh, there were so many Detroit fans. I was wondering what Connor McGahey had to say about that because he had a lot to say with Philadelphia.
If you left so much, move back there.
What's that?
As Connor McGahey always likes to say, they loved it so much that they moved away from there.
That's exactly right. But yeah, a lot of Detroit fans, and unfortunately, they're the ones that go home happy this time. And that's the hard part is the very next game, Britt, you're playing San Jose, and you just got blanked on home ice. You have to have some kind of a bounce back game. And I'll say you almost lost it. You had it, you let it go, you luckily recovered it. The Avs win this game 4-2. But Britt, this one was a very, very sloppily played game. Like the first period, it was kind of neck and neck. Then the Avalanche go up 2-0 in the second period, and you're thinking, okay, just hold on to this for as much as you can. And then in the span of 3 minutes, San Jose ties it right back up.
Yep.
And it just does not make sense because I get it. San Jose is a much better team than they were last season. Don't get me wrong. They are a fun team to watch. But again, it just felt like in this game particularly, they were just shooting for the sake of getting a shot on goal number. Like they were not aimed very well. They were already like crowded in the crease. Like you're not shooting it in a place where you're going to have a high danger chance. They
cannot be bothered to play a full 60 minutes of hockey to save their lives. Like they are just so done.
Yeah, it seems like it. And that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning of the episode is that I didn't, I'd say around, say, Christmas time when the Avs are just racking up wins like it's clockwork.
Right.
I was over here thinking, the Olympic break's going to be like it's breaking our mojo, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think
Yeah.
it was going to be, oh, finally something to stop the bleeding.
I know.
I never would have thought that.
We had such a incredible gap built up in points, and it's still there, but we've dropped it down. We're only 7 points ahead?
Oh, maybe
Or
less than
5,
that.
excuse me. I think it's 5.
Yeah, let's check here.
And we're not supposed to be cashing in that ticket yet. That ticket is for the spring.
No kidding. 5 points ahead of both the Carolina Hurricanes and the Minnesota, and then 6 ahead of Dallas, 7 ahead of Tampa, and then the rest doesn't.
Yeah.
It's over.
Minnesota's not getting any worse.
Yeah, I would have thought for sure that if the Avalanche were still winning at this clip, I thought, a couple losses here and there, you'd be looking at maybe 5 losses by the end of January, right?
Yeah.
5 regulation losses. Well, now you're at
Yeah.
9. You more than doubled the amount of regulation losses you had by New Year.
Yeah.
Bad January, Brit. A very
so
bad
now
January.
You're going to have to put effort in the long stretch when we could have really focused on maintenance type stuff and taken some time off, but now that's not really going to be an option.
Yep. And so that's, again, the Olympics are finally here, so at least we get that break. At least the majority of the team will get that break. However, there are players on the Colorado Avalanche that are going to be in Milano-Cortina for the next month. And Britt, I cannot tell you how happy I am, because it has been years since they allowed NHL players to play in the Winter Olympic Games. I think Sochi 2014 was the
there are
last
players
time,
whose
right?
whole careers were bypassed and the time not going, that never even got a shot to go.
Yeah,
which I think is
because I believe Beijing 2022 they didn't have NHL players, and then who was the Winter Olympics right before that? 2018 was hang on.
Oh God.
Where was 2018? What's that?
That's not Utah? How long ago was Salt Lake?
Salt Lake was 2002, Britt. Where were you?
Holy shit. Nick, some of us are really old, okay? The dates start running together. You'll understand.
2002, Britt. That wasn't even close. Hang on.
Yeah, that one's just burnt into my brain because, I...
that's right. 2018 was Pyeongchang, South Korea.
Oh, yeah.
But
okay, that's
I don't believe NHL players were allowed there. So it had been about 12 years since NHL players were allowed to participate in the games. So this is a huge deal for a lot of these NHL players, and a big heartbreak for those that unfortunately got injured after the rosters were announced and updated and all that kind of stuff.
And so let me just ask, I'll throw this out there too. With the Olympics, how many of our players, including Avs players and in the NHL, how many of them are playing injured because it's been so long and it might be their only chance to play?
I'm willing to bet more than we think. I am 100% willing to bet there are several that are playing, that are lying about an injury just so they can be in the Olympics, because this is a huge deal. It's the world's best against against themselves, and it comes by for at least the NHL once every 4 years.
That are allowed. Yeah. So kind of makes me wonder with like Kale, Natchez is hurt now. But that does kind of make me curious as to what Lehkonen is going. Some of those guys that might be playing through something so that they don't get pushed out of the Olympics. I have a feeling we're going to see a whole lot of the roster changes for all teams across the board as soon as they get back from the Olympics and they can admit that they're injured.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Speaking of the Olympic rosters, obviously this is kind of the bulk of what we wanted to talk about. So, Britt, you made it just in time. The Colorado Avalanche have 8 players currently slated for the 2026 Milano-Cortina Winter Olympic Games. They are as follows. For Team Canada, you have 3. Nathan MacKinnon, Devon Taves, Cale Makar. We'll go over each.
Have his
What's that?
Did Tay's wife have his baby, or is he still a
I
possible?
don't know. It's kind of been mum's the word on that, and that's kind of the hard part is there's a potential that Dave is not there. I don't know.
Yeah, it was something like if she hasn't had the baby or if it was too close, then he wasn't going to go. And I might be going to hell for thinking it and saying it out loud, but I wouldn't be that mad if that bun wants to just chill because I feel like Tay is he tired.
Yeah, potentially. But as far as roster spots, he's still there. So we're going to say
He
that
is still
those are the
Okay.
three for that are headed to Italy as we speak, most likely. Next for Team Sweden, they did say that Landeskog's injury was not the duration was short enough that he's going to be on the plane as well to Italy. He's going to be representing Team Finland, hopefully as their captain. Would totally buy that jersey if that's the case.
Oh, absolutely.
For Team Finland, you have two more. You have Arturi Lehkonen, who just had a 2-goal game against San Jose, as well as Joel Kiviranta, which that was kind of the surprise of the roster announcement was having him on there. But again, seeing his play last season and seeing obviously the injury bug that he was dealing with, but his play while he's been healthy, I'm happy to see him on that team, to be completely honest with you.
Yep. Kind of sucking this year. Hopefully it'll like one of those like he's a off and on guy. So maybe he'll come home turned on. If that
There you
that
go.
didn't.
I'm gonna ignore that comment, Britt. He's gonna come home with a little bit more swagger. How about we say that instead?
Hot and ready to go.
just turned on to hell, man. Yep. Anyways,
so do you think that's going to be weird for them? They're going to be playing with Mikko. It's kind of funny to think about. We had all the Finns now, but it seems like all the Finns have gravitated to Dallas. So we're not nearly as many as
Dallas and Florida seems to be the Finnish hub nowadays. I don't know, but for Team Czechia, A1 Martin Necas is going to be representing them.
Is
he
injured?
Go ahead.
Maybe he is injured right now.
He was withheld from the game because of an undisclosed injury, but they presumably are going to have him. He's still in the lineup, so he's still, as far as I'm aware, going to be just fine for the game.
I mean, I suppose that they have built that padding that also is they're probably taking every grace possible to send them healthy to the Olympics.
Yep, that's most likely what I'm guessing is going on. And then a little fun fact about Team Czechia. For me, a dark horse jersey. I really like their jersey.
I haven't seen them.
Historically, their jerseys have been great. This one doesn't seem to be any different, and I'm quite a fan of it, to be completely honest with you. So if you haven't seen it, for those of you watching at home, if you haven't seen Team Czechia's jerseys or even their history of their jerseys, I suggest you go and check it out. For me personally, big fan, quite like them. Okay, and then the last one, last but not least, for sure, because of the way he's
like the dark the most, I always do.
Yeah. Brock Nelson represents the good old United States of America. He'll be repping the red, white, and blue. The only American for the Avalanche. But I think, Britt, that's kind of the hardest part, though, is especially when it comes to Team USA and Team Canada. Those are like the hardest spots to get into. So the fact that you have representation for both teams, and let alone three on one of them,
your whole entire team as Team Canada, like knowing that I have to cheer against the people that I am generally, giving my whole entire life cheering for. The Olympics has thrown a really weird emotional wrench in me.
Yeah, it has.
Because they're all Canadian.
That's true. So here is a question, Britt, that I received regarding the Olympic rosters. So, like I said, we have 8, but would we have had 9, Britt? Assuming, obviously, world events are the big cause of this, and I'm gonna leave the politics and stuff out of it. But assuming
you're breaking up here. Oh, with Nuke.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
did you say Nichushkin?
I was going to bring that up. Assume the question that was posed to me was, assuming the doping scandal from Russia, the Russia-Ukraine war, all that stuff that's off the ice and out of this country for that matter, all of that aside,
Yeah.
what would Team Russia's roster would have looked like, and would Val Nichushkin have been part of it? I'll answer the second question first, and I guess, Britt, I'll ask you that question. Would Val Nichushkin have been part of Team Russia had Russia been allowed to play in this Winter Olympic Games?
You're answering first, or did you say you want me
You
to?
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
It is interesting. I was trying to think who would be the general manager for that team, because that's kind of something that I would take into account, as his issues might be a consideration, and whether they would take him or not. But as far as just deserving being good enough, I absolutely think he would be on the roster for sure. He's got it going for him that he plays wing, so that it's not like a position that there's only limited centers, limited goalies. I think he would 100% be a sure foot in, unless the GM were someone that's kind of a hard ass and doesn't want to risk or deal with or even just field questions regarding any wrong step Nichushkin may make.
Sure. And I think that is kind of a big thing to bring up, but I would feel that in a lot of senses the Olympic Games oversee, or I should say just kind of oversight that kind of stuff, and they just want the best players in. There have been a couple instances in different sports, like there's a couple of downhill skiing events where I'm like, okay, that athlete definitely should have been in there, but because they were good, they didn't want the bad image of withholding them for
Russia. That's the most shameless.
Oh, exactly.
But I'm just and for their own sake, not wanting to risk losing a player,
Yeah, for sure. And so by skill alone, yeah, I think Val Nichushkin would be in for sure. In fact, he would probably be second line.
I think he would be a top 4.
He would be second line left wing, in my opinion. In fact, let me actually just bring up what this writer said. Austin Nivison just earlier today released what he believed Team Russia would have looked like, and maybe how that would have impacted not only the other Avalanche players that were on these other teams, but just how the Olympics itself would have shaken down, because this would have been a formidable Team Russia. So let me just kind of go through the forwards for what it would have looked like. Again, all that stuff aside, what it would have looked like if Team Russia could have been in this game. Ivan Demidov to start off, Pavel Dorofeev, Kirill Kaprizov, Nikita Kucherov, Evgeny Malkin, Kirill Marchenko, Roman Kantsarov, he's part of the KHL, Vladislav Nemesnikov, Val Nichushkin.
Nemesnikov?
Yeah, Nemesnikov. He's deservedly so, yeah. Obviously, Alexander Ovechkin, Artemi Panarin, Andrei Svechnikov, Dmitry Voronkov, Daniil Yurov, Daniil Yurov, yep, and that would have been all the forwards. That alone, it's lacking in the center spot. You're definitely right when you said they were lacking in the centers, but the wings, holy crap.
That's a compelling roster, yeah. It's a lot of wings.
That is. Defenseman, what he had was Vladislav. I did, yep. Okay. Oh, yeah, definitely. No, I would not skip him. Anyways, Vladislav Gavrikov, this is defense. Pavel Minchikov, Alexander Nikishkin, Dmitry Orlov, Ivan Provorov, Mikhail Sergachev, Nikita Zadorov, and Artem Zub. That defense is really solid. I mean, that is a really good defensive core. And then obviously your goaltending would have been like the elite of the elites.
Oh God, that's the scariest part of it, really, because
that would have been the hardest part, because Vasilevsky would spearhead this whole thing, followed by Shesterkin and Ilya Sorokin. That roster alone, Britt.
They are wildly patriotic and also have a ton of pressure. So the fact that they're playing for Russia would add a different level of for even these. Do you know what I mean? Because
absolutely.
They're very serious about their patriotism.
And to be completely honest with you, and again, politics aside, that would have been a really fun addition into this Olympics to have that team, because that would have been top 3 in my opinion. I think if you're going based off of true rank, I think Canada, US, Russia, that would have been the 3 where it's like those are going to be the ones that you need to bring down.
The goaltending committee that might make up
that goaltending trio is deadly. So it's sad that obviously they don't get to participate because of the world events. But
I don't know where you stand on that. It's hard for me to think. I don't know. I go back and forth because I really most of the time can convince myself that the athletes should be playing. Like it's not their
it's a very fine line, because and honestly I think you just kind of have to take it case by case, because life in Russia is different than what we are told. I don't know. It's funny though, a bad situation, especially for these athletes, though. You're exactly right.
Well, and the Olympics has just this holier than thou attitude about humanitarian stuff. And then they also at the same time build buildings that are ungodly amounts of money, frivolous, hard on the environment.
And in Italy's case, unfinished.
Yeah. So it's like you're not really that you're not that pure and wholesome as a whole. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But they'd probably just don't want to deal with the backlash that they'd get.
More than likely.
Which I'd be curious at this point if they would still be getting a ton. I don't know.
Potentially. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not well versed. I choose not to be well versed in that political field. But either way, the Russian roster would have been incredible to watch. And honestly, there's again a lot of deserving players to be in this Olympic Games. And like with Ovechkin, his chance to have a medal is now gone because he's not going to be playing, and at least in the NHL in 4 years. Yeah. If he is, that'll be surprising.
Yeah, there's a lot of Russians that are going down as the best in history, like one of the best that will never see the Olympics. I mean, you got Kucherov. I don't know how old Bob is, but like Shesterkin, Sorokin, there's a lot of some of the best players that'll ever play the game that will never see the Olympics.
And that's the hard part, is because all these, these up and coming Russian kids. I mean, friggin', you look at Utah's got the kid by the name of Daniil Boot. He's a fun kid to watch. And you're just hoping that, whatever world issues get resolved in a peaceful manner and he's able to play, right? Because these kids, they, obviously their dream is to go to the NHL and win a Stanley Cup, but every 4 years, that dream, just for a little bit, shifts to become an Olympic gold medalist, right? And that's kind of the objective with all these players, and these 8, particular with the Avalanche, is to become Olympic gold medalists. And Brit, the Avalanche have a very strong chance, I think, of taking home a gold, a silver, and a bronze. Just based off of the firepower alone, right? Just looking at that roster,
the most going to the Olympics of any team in the NHL.
No, I forgot to look. I want to say that either belongs to. Oh, in fact, I think I had that.
Was it Dallas?
I think that belongs to Panthers. Let's see, list NHL players.
You mean enemy number 1 to the entire NHL right now? Florida Panthers?
Pretty much, yeah. Here, let me see if I can. I had the list open. I can't believe I just lost it. No, I don't remember where I did with it. Oh, that's too bad. But the Olympics are 4 weeks long, so we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. In any case, though, Brit, so those 5 teams that we'll talk about, or excuse me, is that, hang on, US, Canada, Czechia, Finland, Sweden.
So 5 teams. Team has at least one.
Every team has at least one. I thought the Panthers had like 11. Like, it was a stupid amount. Or maybe it's not the Panthers. Really? Someone has like 11.
Okay, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10. They have a lot of Finns too. Holy bananas.
Like, that's what I was saying, is Dallas and Florida are like Finnish central.
Wild too.
Anyways, so let me just kind of go team by team super quick. Obviously, this episode doesn't have to drag any longer than it needs to. But starting with Team Finland, okay, with Arturi Lehkonen and Joel Kiviranta. Obviously, the Finnish team was part of the Four Nations face-off that happened last season, which that was a big success. And they held their own. Granted, unfortunately, there were some losses abundant, but that's not to say that their team got better, right? That I think Team Finland has that chemistry that rivals that of the US and Canada, if you ask me.
Especially when so much of this is relying on health. It's kind of a game right now of who's healthy when we get there. Finland is a serious contender should US and Canada not come in healthy, and it's looking like there's a good chance it's going to happen.
I think so, and so that's kind of my key to the game, key to the games for Team Finland is to obviously not. I don't think it's not to be intimidated, right? You got to keep in mind these are the exact same players you played a season ago, or I should say 90% of the team are the exact same players you played a season ago, and they're your teammates. A lot of them are your teammates or friends or whatever that you made around the league. Do not be intimidated.
Finns are like particularly tight. They're very they're very familial. Like I don't know. They seem to have
for them is a huge deal. Like to represent Finland, which by the way, I'm really upset that they didn't have Suomi on their attire, but that's totally beside the point.
Well,
they are
Finland
a very close community.
In that their the games are going to be different. These games are not going to be NHL style rough and tumble. There's no fighting. You're going to see a lot less injuries, a lot more finesse. The ice is different and it's bigger. Supposedly the corners are supposed to be almost identical to what they generally expect on the Olympic sheet of ice. They took that space out of the neutral zone. So it'll be really interesting to see how it changes the game by tightening up that neutral zone. It's going to benefit some teams greatly, and it
was only a 3 foot shrink, right? 18 inches on one side, 18 inches on the other. So hopefully,
but I mean, in the neutral zone, it'll matter a little bit. But the thing is, Finland's they grow up playing on that sheet of ice, and that's that opens the ice up, and it takes a lot of the small game play out of it. And Canada and US, they hyper focus on small games where they speed it up and have things in close contact for practices and for game style drills. So Finland really does have that to their advantage in that they're accustomed to that, you know, having grown up. It's a transition when they come to the US or go to the NHL and have to move to smaller ice. But I think that you could almost say it's easier to go smaller than bigger sometimes.
Open, especially with all the extra open ice that the Olympic size rink has. That like you said, kind of growing up, that's what they had. So that's kind of the whole idea is getting back to that root, and like I said before, not being intimidated by the fact that you have these supposed juggernauts of USA and Canada. But after that, I mean, again, a lot of them are your teammates, your friends, people you've played against them in the league. I don't know how many times. It's just another team. That's kind of the mentality that Finland should have.
Community style. Yeah, they have a very distinct style of play that they abide by from childhood until adulthood. So it's something that seems to come back together. We saw it in Four Nations. Exactly. It's like riding a bicycle for them to come back and play together. There isn't really much of a cohesion problem like there can be with the US and Canada. They don't struggle at all right off the bat.
Correct. Yep. Moving on to Team Sweden with Gabe Landeskog. Obviously, my big takeaway for Team Sweden is going to be the age and experience. Is that going to help? Or is that going to hurt? Because a lot of these players have a lot of years of NHL experience and hockey experience as a whole, but a lot of them are pretty up there in age as well. I can't help but wonder, is that going to be something that helps them along the way because of the veteran, the know-how of the game and how to move the puck around and how to shoot, how to score? Like not to say that they don't have the talent. They very much have the talent. but is the
Yeah.
age against the younger teams like the US, like Canada, like, you know, is that going to be a factor?
It might be, but there's so much value in being a tenured, calm, like been there, done that guy. So who knows?
Yeah,
I don't count them out of anything, honestly.
Oh, definitely. No, you definitely don't want to count them out. But again, it's the game is a new generation, right? It's fallen out of your Victor Hedman and Gabe Landeskog and, you know, players to that extent where they've been around the league for 15 plus years. It's a different game altogether, and they're bringing that now to the world stage. It's just that question of obviously
4 weeks. A lot of
excuse me. It's just that question of, is the experience going to be, I mean, obviously the NHL experience is a good thing to have, but that age, is it catching up to them? Is it kind of scaring them because some of them know that this is their only shot? Is that going to be motivation for them? You know, there's a whole lot of like up in the airs. What are you going to do with this particular power that you're given as Team Sweden? What are you going to do with it? That's kind of the big if, in my opinion.
Yep.
Okay. Next one, Team Czechia, obviously with Martin Necas. The big question for Team Czechia that I have is the goaltending. Now, obviously, excuse me, I'm going to be very, very partial here because Karel Vejmelka of the Utah Mammoth is part of Team Czechia. I personally think they should roll with him. He's got the most wins in the NHL this season.
Hot.
He is on fire. Now, that doesn't mean he's perfect. In fact, he lets in, I think, on an average, less than 3 goals a game, but 2.6, something like that is what he is.
Yeah.
But their goaltending, it used to be a bunch of nobodies turned somebodies. And now you're throwing them onto this world stage, right? I think the offense that Czechia has should go toe-to-toe with a lot of these players in Canada, US, Sweden, Finland, all those players. The defense seems to be solid as long as they're healthy. The goaltending for me is a lot of these unprovens that have not had Olympic experience, how they're going to handle the stage.
But a lot of times that's where they some of them, when you hit gold and they get hot, I mean, that's when they can do absolutely insane things. I mean, any of these goaltenders are just as capable of being as good as any other one on any given day. It just depends on how they're feeling and getting on a roll. So I think that's like one of the most fun aspects to stuff like this is a hot goalie could take you so much farther than essentially any other part.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just look at the 2019 St. Louis Blues. Binnington carried that team at the second half of the season.
Yeah.
And now he's getting rewarded for it by being on Team Canada and taking a spot away from Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood. But we're not upset about that, are we?
Oh, it's sickening. I'm upset.
Yeah, guilty right here. So that's my key to the game for Team Czechia, obviously, is that goaltending carousel of who are you riding with and are you sticking with them? Okay, next, Team Canada, obviously potent. That's all that it's just scoring ability after scoring ability. This team is going to be nuts. A lot of people are pinning them as the gold medal favorite.
Too many all-stars. Do you think
that could be it? That could be it. Obviously, the Avalanche are well represented there with 3 players. But having McKinnon and McDavid on the same team, we've seen it before, like in the 4 Nations. Obviously, they found out this way to make it work, but what helped them greatly was a hot goaltender at the time. Okay, Binnington happened to be in his postseason mood again, right? And they ended up beating the U.S. in overtime with that McDavid goal, which unfortunately is still ringing in my head.
Oh, God.
But their key to the game is to not slip. Okay, there's a lot of pressure put on Team Canada because of exactly who they are. Team Canada, they are the juggernauts. They're the favorites. They're the, everyone's expecting them to make the run for gold.
Too. Vastly different types of competitors.
Oh, yeah.
McDavid, and then you've got Sidney Crosby. I mean, wildly different types of people.
Correct. So a lot riding on their expectations. Okay. I firmly believe if there's an off ice distraction or a tough loss or whatever it is, I worry that the team doesn't feel as glued as they should be.
Yeah.
Okay. Because like you said, that's a lot of superstars.
That they could get shaken and kind of work against
But
each other.
if it's shaken, something could come unglued.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not to say that it will happen if that does, but it's again, we've seen the Avalanche themselves at the NHL level do this, where whether it's Valachushkin or whatever else in previous
Yep.
seasons, the mental block that was there killed the postseason completely.
Yeah.
So
This is
anyways,
powerful as any amount of working out or inherent athletic ability or
100%.
talent. The mental state can shut it all down.
100% can. You're exactly right. So it's going to be a big mental block of am I living up to my expectation, or am I living to the world's expectation or Canada's expectation? A lot of weight on Team Canada's shoulders. So that's the key is basically let the dice fall where they may and see what happens. Very last, and obviously not least, I saved it because of the fact that we're Americans. Team USA, Brock Nelson, obviously, like I said, representing the country. The big kicker for me is you have now tasted the championship when it came to the IIHF. Obviously, a lot of good players that were on that team are now part of this Olympic team. They won gold after 92 years. They won the championship, a large trophy on a world scale. They have this momentum swing going forward with an even better and more loaded roster. It's very similar to Team Canada, Brit, in that you have now put yourself on this spotlight shared with Canada. Are you living up to your own expectations, or are you going to be living up to the world's expectations? And what happens if you let that down?
Can you hear me? I missed the second half of your sentence there.
Oh no, I was just saying that the key for the Team USA is very much similar to Team Canada's.
Yeah, we need our goalies to show up and
what you're doing with the spotlight and the expect. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the goalies, I mean, I guess I will just say this now for all of them, but particularly USA, they are relying on their goaltending to be their difference.
Yes. Now, as far as was it a bad decision to, whoever they started in, then I believe it was Hellebuck during the Four Nations? No, I don't think so. But what would it have been if they had Ottinger, or who's the hot hand now? I mean, there's all kinds of question marks going with Team USA as far as who you're actually going to be putting out on the ice.
We are getting to a weird spot that Hellebuck, I haven't paid much attention to him. I mean, honestly, Winnipeg is so bad this year, but he's kind of moving out of that reign. It seems his he's been unquestionably the best US goaltender for quite some time, and I think that era might be coming to a close at some point, especially because he can't do it when it matters.
Potentially. I mean, imagine you just won the Hart and the Vezina in the same year, and your team is nearly last in the West all of a sudden. Like
they need like a scientific study on what happened to them.
This needs to be studied.
The downfall is wow, it's not
wild.
even funny. It makes me feel bad.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. So those are the keys to the game for the 5 countries that the Avalanche have representation on. Let us know, obviously, your thoughts for each one of the teams, or maybe the Avalanche players specifically, in the comments, or DM us, whatever you need to do to get a hold of us, and we'd love to hear your guys' feedback. Okay, so that's going to take us to our last little segment, which is the hockey hits of the week. For those of you who are new here to the channel, Britt and I pick a song that best represents the week that happened, or in my case this week, the week that's coming, or the month that's coming. and we put it on a Spotify playlist for everyone to listen to. So that being said, Britt, I mean, there's only one obvious answer for this, and I'm actually not basing mine off of games that occurred. I'm basing mine on the month that is coming for the Olympics, and so my song for the week, my hockey hit of the week, is Bugler's Dream, orchestrated and conducted by John Williams himself. For those of you who don't know what Bugler's Dream is, it is the Olympics theme song. Why? Because I am in a very, very big Team USA mode. Cannot wait for the opening ceremonies. I am full-blown Olympics mode for the next 4 weeks. Don't at me.
It's I haven't really looked at what the schedule is. Did you see this is I'm kind of interrupting this, but I wanted to bring it up earlier. They have already had to reschedule a women's game due to norovirus breakout.
Seriously.
So and they rescheduled it for February 13th. So, but I mean, screw the women, right? I mean, doesn't seem like.
That's crazy. I watched Team USA women's go ahead and beat Czechia earlier today. That was a fun game to watch.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah, 5-1. There wasn't even much of a competition. In fact, Czechia's only goal was a very nice jailbreak goal. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it didn't feel like much of a competition.
It kind of feels like the women's what's the word I'm looking for? Parity is not nearly as it's not in the same place as the men's. So
yeah, I mean, because a lot of the gets as well, the gold medal match is going to be the U.S. and Canada, as it has been for who knows how long.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, so that's, and I haven't heard, have you heard, is the ice holding up? I forgot to ask you that too, so sorry.
Supposedly they've played a few exhibition games in the big arena. This game wasn't in the big arena, but supposedly they had played some games in that big arena, and it seems like everything's okay. They even got a new Jumbotron. I think it went from the Microtron to now a Tron, and now we're just waiting for the Jumbotron to show up. I don't know when that's going to be, but yeah, supposedly the arena seems to be okay.
Okay, so, I mean, that is a daunting task to have that many big, strong men playing on the ice 24 hours a day but yeah, I'm hoping that the schedule isn't too painful to try to watch. Are you the guy that watches the game at 4:30 a.m. on Wednesday, or do you watch the next morning?
Let's put it this way, Britt. Just over the weekend, it was the Australian Open tennis. Okay. My wife and I slept from 11 o'clock to 1:30, woke up and stayed up the whole rest of the night to watch the championship rounds for the men's and women's. So
if you'll do that for tennis, I don't even.
If I'm doing that for tennis, Britt, yeah, imagine what I'm doing for hockey. So we'll have to just see what the schedule allows, because if it's a weeknight, probably forget it. We'll have to see. But for those big matches, though, like the medal rounds, oh yeah, I'm going to be staying up. Without a doubt. Anyway, sorry, Britt. I've been cutting you off. But what is your hockey hit of the week?
So I picked two because I knew that you were going to go Olympic route, and so
am I that predictable?
Well, I picked for my Olympic guys, and then I picked one for my non-Olympic guys. So I feel obligated. Obviously, Freebird has to be one of our songs. So Freebird is my that song like gives me the heebie, like it
best goal song for a country ever.
Oh, so good. During Four Nations, like it literally, if there was any time I was ever gonna like cry feeling Americanness, hearing that was it. And then I picked for the rest of our buddies, as they seem to already be there, I picked Margaritaville. So hopefully
there you go.
Dig some feet in the sand and drink some margaritas and come back ready to actually go.
Okay, I love it. Okay, so I believe that's going to kind of take us to the end of the episode. Again, Olympics coming up for the next couple of, I think 3 or 4 episodes. We're going to talk everything Olympics, men's team, women's team for the U.S., the important things that happen.
Like mentioned many times, keep Allie in your thoughts and prayers. Panarin.
keep my wife in your prayers tonight, everyone. Her favorite player just got traded to the LA Kings, and yeah, she's taking it, but
was there any idea that was coming?
She actually nailed it right on the head. She knew it was. She guessed it right. Perfect. So.
Man, I was so ready for him to go to the Sharks, and she could have had a
Oh,
blast.
you're
here.
telling me. But
Asshole.
apparently Panarin only would waive his no move clause for Los Angeles. So
Yeah, that's weird. That's so weird,
yep,
man.
for a bag of peanuts. Here
Sounds
we
like
are.
the kid that they got in return, not like super elite, but he is he's nails. He sounds like he's a mean dude. So
Yeah, well,
hopefully he'll bring him something, because the New York Rangers, they need some hand from God.
yeah, you should probably text Allie. She'll have a lot to tell you.
Oh, I can't imagine. I should have had a blog right when Trouba got traded. We should have forced her to start a blog so we could follow the.
Oh, dude, that would have been an essay and a half, man. Let me tell you. Anyways,
so showing up at your door, checking on her.
Pretty much. Anyways, so that's going to be the it for this episode. Again, Olympics are here. Opening ceremonies are just a day away at the time of this recording. So go ahead and whatever country you're cheering for, US, Canada, Botswana, wherever you're cheering for, whoever you're cheering for.
Who are you cheering for second if US doesn't win? Who's your next?
As far as like gold medals for hockey or overall?
Just anyone that's playing against Canada, because that's fine.
Oh boy. Okay, are you ready for this one?
It better not be Canada. It's
not Canada. It is it's a tie between Czechia and Germany, believe it or not.
Germany is they're quiet. What's the term?
It's going to be interesting. But yeah, it's either Czechia or Germany for me. Okay. But again, wouldn't be sad if it were Sweden or Finland or anyone but Canada. But
Canada. Yep, that's my favorite.
Canada, kind of. But here we are. Okay. So thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of the Cluster Puck Podcast, part of the MHRT Network. Again, if you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow the MHRT Network so you can get notified when shows like the Cluster Puck Podcast go live. You can do so on the various social media platforms of your choosing. And if you want to follow us, we ask that you do so at the Cluster Puck Podcast on Facebook and at Cluster Puck Avs on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. With that being said, we hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the opening ceremonies for the 2026 Winter Olympic Games in Milano-Cortina. And Britt, I think I might have cut you off there. What did you say?
Oh, happy Super Bowl weekend. Nobody gives.
And happy Super Bowl weekend.
It sounds like it could be some shenanigans, so we'll see how political it gets.
That's going to be a fun Super Bowl, big rematch from 10 years ago, I believe is what it is. Weird. Seahawks and Patriots. So we'll also have to see how that goes. But for right now, like I said, Olympics are here. So I guess pass the torch, grab the popcorn, and enjoy the next month of Olympic Games. With that being said, enjoy, everyone, and go Avs go.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Tempo's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast's racking up the flame out. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute,